Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the conflict that's happening between Saudi Arabia and Yemen. So we'll discuss that in good detail. We'll talk about some arbitration that's happened against China on the South China Sea. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some of the things Trump has been saying about Iran. And we'll round up any other major news that's been happening over the past day or so. So without further ado, let's start. So as you can see from the images, guys, this is the Yemeni Sana'a International Airport. And the Saudis have completely destroyed it today. Their excuse was basically an Iranian plane was supposed to land on this airport. And many don't know this, but Saudi Arabia has had a blockade against planes landing in Yemen for more than 10 years. So this Iranian plane was supposed to land on in Sana'a, and the Saudi Arabians have literally destroyed the airport. So this is the funny thing, guys. I don't understand. So you're welcome to make me understand this, really. If Saudi Arabia has the power to blockade countries, stop airplanes from landing in airports, monitor the flights and airspace, if they got that technology to do that, why the hell are they allowing Israeli jets to fly all over the place, all over Saudi Arabia? Can someone explain me that? Why are they allowing Israeli planes to land in US bases in Saudi Arabia? Why are they allowing the US to launch attacks against Iran from Saudi Arabia? When the West is doing it, when the Israelis are doing it, it's no problem for the Saudi Arabians. But if there's a plane that wants to land in their own airport in Yemen, suddenly Saudi Arabia's got a problem with that. You had a G-side happening in Palestine in front of our very eyes. Did Saudi Arabia lift a finger? Not one. Not a word of condemnation, didn't lift a finger, nothing. And suddenly they want to attack their Muslim brothers in Yemen. See, this is absolutely disgusting, guys. This is why these Gulf nations need to come down. The people need to rise up and get rid of this corrupt government who is clearly there for Israeli and American interests. The people just need to rise up and get rid of their governments. If they don't, then they are also, like the Gulf governments. They are in support, that means. I mean, look what happened in the Iranian Revolution, 1979. The corrupt regime of the Shah, who was a major puppet of the US at the time, and Israel, was stealing Iranian resources and doing the West's bidding in the region. Back then, Iran was Israel for America. They were the biggest puppet nations working for America back in the day. And they were selling all of their treasures to United States companies. Oil and gas contracts were all going to, America. Or I should say United States of America. So what did the people do? The people realized that their country was being absolutely, all the resources were being stolen. The country was being destroyed, and the people rose up, and that's where you got the Iranian Revolution. And since then, obviously, the Americans didn't really like having the Iranians having their own sovereignty, so they placed sanctions on the country. And those sanctions have been there for over 50 years. But these Gulf countries, in the West is really funny, guys. In the West, all the major leaders in the United States of America, all the presidents, they'll say things like, we love democracy, we hate dictatorships, we hate communism. But suddenly, when it comes to the Gulf Arabs, they love dictatorships. They love dictatorships when these dictators work for them. They don't like dictatorships when, when they have their own sovereignty. No, we can't have that. We'll support dictatorships as long as they do our bidding, as long as they are puppets. So just a message for all you Gulf Arabs. You guys need to stand up and get rid of this puppet regime. Otherwise, you are all to blame for this. Yeah, because the Gulf countries literally have done nothing, guys, for Palestine. Nothing. It's so sad to see, Palestinians being G-sided on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, so it looks like this war is going to be starting again between Saudi Arabia and Yemen. So why did this war start in the beginning? Let's go back in the beginning. And again, this is all because, it's all because of what Israel wants and United States wants. It's all because of that. Because they cannot have, Yemenis, especially, they call them the Houthis, right? But they're not Houthis, they're actually Yemenis, right? And they hold an important part of Yemen, which is part of the Bab el Mandeb, which is the horn of the Red Sea. This is where ships go in and out of the Red Sea. So they hold an important part geopolitically and also geography as well. And guess what they've done? They've blocked it. So they cannot have a government who they call the Houthis, by the way. I call them Yemenis, but they call them the Houthis. So let's just say Houthis. So they cannot have a government, they cannot control that part of the strait. So this is why Saudi Arabia has basically been pushing for these anti-Houthi tribes in the rest of Yemen, because Yemen is basically split into many different parts. And the Houthis own most of the parts, and the most important parts they own, which is opposite the Red Sea and Bab el Mandeb. But the other parts, they're owned mainly by warlords and other, other kind of groups and things like that. They're not that powerful, but the Saudi Arabians have been backing them, and nobody takes them seriously, to be honest. The backing that they get from Saudi Arabia. So they started this 10-year war, and there was a blockade against Yemenis. Many people died because of famine, because of the blockade. It was evil, guys. It was evil. This is exactly what Israel is doing in Palestine. They were blocking food and energy going into Yemen. Many millions died as a result, children and stuff. But the Yemenis never gave up. They fought back, and they fought for a 10-year war with the Saudis. Saudis, with all of their latest American equipment and all that oil money, they spent a lot of money fighting this war, guys. I think they spent around 300, 400 billion. Could be more even. And they only stopped the war because Saudi Arabia was running out of money. There was a time when a few years ago, MBS, was basically scared that he couldn't pay, for Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia, he pays a lot of money to people like ordinary Arabian people, Arabs, and a lot of them don't work, so he pays them. The whole country is like a welfare state. People don't really work hard in Saudi Arabia. Only workers that work hard are the immigrants. But the actual residents, they don't really work hard. They depend on state money, oil money and stuff. And so he was running out of cash, and that's the only reason he stopped the war. But this war was purely, an Israeli and American war that they basically used the Saudi Arabians to fight in. And because they didn't win the war against Yemen, now they're suffering the after effects of that. And Israel is especially suffering the after effects, because what Yemen has done, they closed the Bab el Mandeb during the time when obviously Israel was blowing up Gaza all over the place, and Yemen were the only people that were standing up against it. So they closed the Bab el Mandeb at the time, and this caused huge economic losses to Israel, because Israel uses that pathway, or that, Bab el Mandeb, Red Sea, so they use that for trade. And one of the port cities in Israel had to close down its its businesses, its port, because nothing was flowing. So it caused huge economic damage to Israel. So it looks like Saudis are doing it again now to Yemen. It's almost like they're bullies, guys. They will never say anything about Israel. They'll never say anything about United States. They'll never say anything about the G-side they're doing. They'll never say anything about using the airspace to attack other Muslim countries. Which tells me they're all part of the same team. They're all part of the same group. But suddenly they got the guts to fight against Yemen. But wait till Yemen starts blowing up their oil facilities. I think which they did today. So this is some of the images of Yemen basically fighting back. And they've been hitting air bases, they've been hitting refineries in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what MBS is gonna do now, but yeah, it looks like they're gonna start another fight with Yemen. But Yemen has got the upper hand. This is not the same Yemen that Saudi Arabia fought 10 years ago. Yemen now is much more prepared. A lot of their stuff is now underground. They have learnt from their 10-year war with Saudi Arabia. A lot of the stuff is underground now. A lot of factories, weapons making factories, and their technology has improved. Their missiles have improved. They've been sharing technology with Iran. They've got a lot of drones. So Yemen is not going to be the same fight for Saudi Arabia 10 years ago. They are much more prepared, much more stronger now. So Saudi Arabia is going to have a big shock. So let's see what Donald Trump has been saying. This is so funny, guys. He says, America will be reimbursed by oil-rich Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, defending the Strait of Hormuz. So basically, Donald Trump wants the Gulf countries to pay for his war with Iran. That's what he's saying. How can they pay for it when they're broke? This war with Iran is going to break all of the Gulf countries one by one. First one to go would be UAE. The port of UAE is pretty much empty. Dubai used to be like the go-to port, in the number one port in the world. Everything used to flow from Dubai. You know, all the transfer flights, all the you know, all the shipping, all the oil, everything used to, fly from Dubai. Dubai has got the best transfer in the world, so a lot of countries used to stop in Dubai, shop for a few days and go on with their journeys. That's why Dubai was so rich. But Dubai has been pretty much empty since Donald Trump started this war with Iran, because for Dubai to survive, they need the Strait of Persia to be opened. Dubai is absolutely isolated. Same with Qatar, same with Bahrain. These countries are completely isolated now, cut off from the rest of the world. Saudi Arabia now is going to lose more money fighting Yemen. And these countries, they all have one thing in common. They have no water. All of their water comes from salination plants. So if you really wanted to hurt these Gulf countries, you just destroy all of their salination plants. And that's it, no more water for these Gulf countries. And you're going to see everybody leaving these Gulf countries, everybody. All the foreigners are going to leave Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and you'll see all the Gulf Arabs start flying to America or UK. These places are just going to be completely empty, like a ghost town. So yeah, I mean, these Gulf countries, they're just sitting ducks, really. But Donald Trump doesn't care. He just he started this war. I don't even know if these Gulf countries actually told him yes or no, because they don't really have a choice. They have to go with what Uncle Sam says because they're puppets. And the fact that Donald Trump has said today that these Gulf countries will have to pay for the war. I mean, what are these Gulf countries? What are these Gulf countries just sitting there thinking, yeah, all right, here we'll just give you like, $1 trillion each. Thank you, Mr. President, for fighting this war for us. I'm sure these Gulf countries will love to pay Trump for this disastrous war. Even if they win or lose, it looks like the Gulf countries will have to pay up. And the funny thing is, Donald Trump has gone absolutely. He's on another world today. He's on another level. He also said that he will take over the Strait of Hormuz, and he will charge 20% fees on every single ship. That's what he said. He will take over the Strait of Hormuz. So what does that mean? He's going to charge 20% tax on every ship. And most of these ships are from Dubai or UAE, Qatar, Bahrain. He's going to charge all his allies. So instead of Iran taking tolls, he's going to get America to take the tolls. What are these puppets thinking now? All these Gulf Arabs. They say nothing, guys. They have, they say nothing. They just sit there and take it. How humiliating. So there was a scary interview that Donald Trump did today. He said that he nuked Iran, and he was having an interview with this guy. And I don't know if it was a slip of the tongue, but he said he basically nuked Iran. So we know that there has been some major explosions happening in Iran. You know, yesterday there was some major explosions. And we also know there were some major explosions during the 50-day war as well, because there was one or two explosions which seemed like nuclear weapons. So we don't know if he did it then, or we don't know if he did it yesterday. Either way, this is a dangerous, dangerous precedence. And I've been telling Iranians to just get the bloody bomb, guys. Just stop messing around. Just get the bomb. However way you can do it, just get it. I really hope they have it, guys. I mean, they must have it by now. They must have it by now. I mean, all these nuclear threats by Trump and all of these threats about destroying the Iranian civilization. Now he's saying he's dropped nukes on Iran. Iran really, really needs some nukes of his own to protect itself. Otherwise, it's game over, guys. Game over. So I really hope Iran has these, weapons in secret. So we don't know if Trump, what he said was real or not. Obviously, you cannot take Trump's word by, face value, but only people that can confirm it are, inspectors who can trace radiation levels and things like that. So maybe let's just wait until we get further news. As you can see, oil refineries are being destroyed in Saudi Arabia. This is the bit where he says he will control the Strait of Hormuz. And he also said some funny things today as well. He said, everything in Iran belongs to America. The oil, the gold, the food, the gas, we will take it all. That's what Trump has said. If any other world leader says these kind of words, they would call that person the next, that German guy with the mustache, begins with H. But if Donald Trump says anything like that, oh, it's okay, nobody says anything. The press is like claps. But if any other world leader says anything like that, imagine, what the Western press would be like. They'd be like, oh my God, we have another H on our hands. Anyway, guys, let's move on. So let's go to China now. So funny things happened yesterday. Basically, 12 nations, these are the Western anti-China nations we're talking about. United States and its vassal states, basically. Only 12, by the way. How many countries in the world right now? We're close to approximately 200. Let's just say 200. Give and take a few. Because, end of the day, there's always new countries being formed all the time. So give and take a few, approximately 200 minus 12. So that means around 188 countries refused to sign, and only 12 countries have signed. So what is that they're signing? Let's just talk about it. So basically, they're trying to give away the South China Sea islands to the Philippines, and they're trying to pretend that this is some sort of international arbitrary court and international law. It's basically a kangaroo court. It means nothing in international law. I mean, look at the West, guys. Do they Do the West look like somebody who follows international law? When's the last time United States of America followed international law or followed an arbitration? And these 12 countries that signed this document, apart from the Philippines, none of them are near the South China Sea. None of them. So this is obviously a ploy for Philippines, because Philippines is an ally for them. So this is a ploy to take away land from the South China Sea and do it in an official way. But China's not having it. When's the last time United States followed any international law? When there's all these like ICJ and ICC rulings to arrest Netanyahu, but he keeps turning up in United States. Do they arrest him? No, they don't. They don't arrest him at all. They do all these ceasefires, yet they keep breaking it. They start wars, left, right, and center. Don't tell me about international law. When America starts following international law, maybe other countries will, respect them a bit and listen. But no, if America's not following any international law, no country's going to listen to their kangaroo court rulings. Especially China. China's not agreed to this. So what do you think? This is some sort of court hearings that you can tell countries, what to do, what not to do. It doesn't work like that. Imagine if China comes back with a court ruling and says, all right, we're going to take Hawaii. All the land, all the waters around Hawaii belongs to China. Do you think America's going to agree to that? Of course not. They'll probably start a war, to be honest. Yeah, it's just Philippines has been very, very they've been a very loyal puppet to the United States lately. All because they put this puppet in place, Marcos Jr., and he's doing America's bidding. Yeah, it's a shame, really. It's a real shame. If you go to Philippines, the whole country is falling apart. But here he is trying to fight China, basically. The last guy, who's Duerte, he had the right idea. He was working with China. China was helping. China was providing infrastructure support, lots of projects. They were giving money and they were investing in Philippines. But this guy completely kicks out all Chinese investments, all Chinese infrastructure, and he's just gone 100% pro-West. And what has the West done for Philippines? Nothing. They're just using them, stealing all their resources. Filipinos are living a hard life in Philippines, guys. I've been to Philippines. I went to Manila, and I went to some islands as well in Philippines. It's like a third world. It's just really, really poor. Everyone's poor. Everyone's asking me for money when I go there. Yeah, it's really poor to see. It's really sad to see, guys. If they had a friendly relationship with China, well, just being neutral, at least be neutral, and then, they could reap the benefits from West and East. They could reap benefits from China and from America. Just be neutral. Just be friend to both. Or just be a friend to China. Because end of the day, who's the nearest country to Philippines? It's China. So your priorities need to lay with China. Because you're part of the ASEAN club. It's all ASEAN, guys. So that needs to be your first priority. That's your family. Anyway, guys, I'll end it there. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.